Kenny here with Gardening Simplified. It is October 14th and it's here in the evening, and we're going to do a little look around the garden. Okay, the nights are starting to get a little cooler. The day temperatures are a little cooler. Right now it's probably 6 or so, 6 something in the afternoon, evening, and it's 69 degrees. So that's a welcome change, but when it comes to plants, a lot of times that might affect them a little bit more as far as the growth. It's going to slow them down. Or tonight's scheduled for 50, and then the next few nights it's going to be upper to mid 40s. So it's getting time. Of course, a lot of winter crops coming in. We planted a few days ago. We planted spinach, and as you can see, looks like grass coming up. And that's normal, and we've got a real good germination off it. So that's a good thing. We've got a few spots that hadn't quite come out, but they might have been buried a little deeper. But we really have a good germination. Now over in this row, we got some of those transplants out of the greenhouse that we had. Down at the very end, we had just a little bit of space. Well, when you have just a little space in a row, throw some radishes in there, unless you just really don't like them. We don't need a whole lot at one time, so we throw these little bunches in there, and then we got some here and there. Normally I would forget, but right in here we've got Lacinato kale. It'll be up not too long. We have two varieties of cauliflower in here, right here, and then another one right here. And then down here we've got some more gypsy broccoli. Now hopefully we got enough heat to get this coming on quick, so it, because and down here through the winter, normally we don't really have too much of a winter. We'll have a few cool days, but normally it's not as far of temperature swings as we have had here in the past few years. So hopefully they'll leave the upper atmosphere aerosols alone and let us get back to normal weather. But anyway, these ought to do good. I have another batch that's about a month or so older than these, and that should give me kind of a staggered crop. Anyway, we over here in the this row are giant Oregon snow peas. They're doing really good. They've got a really good germination rate and growth rate on them. And in our little greenhouse here, where we've got our potatoes, and we started to last them. These ones were some that sprouted a little bit later. We went ahead and pulled a little dirt up, fertilized these, and they're taking off. Now they won't like these cold weathers, but this cold weather, but we'll see what we can do to keep them in good shape. Over here, we've got our celery. We finally got it out, and it's starting to take off a lot quicker. Once it gets in the ground, it can spread its roots out. It seems to take off a lot quicker. Of course, we gave it a good dose of some organic fertilizer that's got a good bit of nitrogen in it, so that'll help. And over here in some of our short beds, we have our latest cilantro. We have some more seeds germinating, so we should be in good shape. And we put in on this row where we had a little extra room, we put in a few radishes too. Now let's go off into the big greenhouse. Our onions are really growing fast since we give them our last haircut. We've got a few more plants that really need to go out, and hopefully I'll do a better job this year than I did. Now we have a little extra celery. I kind of really want to put that out too. Some red cabbage that's ready to go out. And we have some different herbs here, some thyme, and looks like maybe we got a cilantro or something off in there, but some different herbs, and I can't even remember what I have. I have some lemon balm here, spearmint. It come up real sparsely, but we did get some, so I need to get it in the ground this time. My sage, I'm gonna have to replant it because I did actually want to get some sage. My thyme isn't too bad, but I've planted some other. We're gonna get rid of this, but my peppermint didn't do too well either. So we have some other little ones that's not ready, or we've been cutting this cilantro and the dill, and it's been doing pretty good. We've got a few blueberry trees or bushes that we need to get replacing some that we've got outside. Now these cucumbers in here have just started to produce. I think there's one cucumber on there. We need to get this lemon balm a home. And we've got to figure out what we're going to do with these 3 rosemary. We keep losing them, and we've got to find a spot that's going to be conducive to them living. I have a few fig trees off in here. These are some that I had to propagate out. Either branches something broke them, or some of them, like the Little Miss Figgy. This was one that I air layered, and these here were some that was cut, or this one was from the top of that air layer, and I went ahead and propagated it out. And I didn't plan to start any this early, but we got them, so we're going to have to deal with them. We did get our parsley to go in. It's doing pretty good, and as you can see, our brassicas in here, the bok choy, the Hilton cabbage, or let's see, yeah, and then the Mitchahili cabbage. And then we put out a few radicchio. I don't know why I couldn't remember that. Now our watermelons are starting to produce some watermelons. It's kind of hard to find them. I actually put a flag in here because I kept losing it. Of course, the plants are so tall, it's kind of hard to see where the flag is. But the melon's hiding down in there. It doesn't seem to be growing too fast. Now, I did see one over on that side, and there's one that's growing faster up on the top. But it is a chore making these things mind their manners and stay in their row. Now, out here we harvested all our mustard and turnips that didn't do good. We just one cut. Now we did leave, there was a little bit of kale that was here at the end. We didn't cut it out, but we're going to have to come in and replant this. Our beets, the ones that survived the missed day of water and are doing pretty good. These watermelons here are taking over, and now this is late in the season, but and they might slow down growing, but they're going to do pretty good as long as they don't get a frost on them. And we did find one that's growing down in here. I'm sure there's others. The bees have been working these real heavy now, which is great, because they were there was an issue to where I watched pretty good, and I couldn't hear or see any bees in the garden. So it must have been something to do with the heat. Maybe it caused their hives to go down, like mine, and possibly they did just survive it. Now the cucumbers, these poinsettia cucumbers are starting to put on cucumbers. We've harvested a few, but they're doing real good. This is, I'd say, a successful late crop. trying to get some pickles done up right now, and that way I can at least have enough to get me through till spring, because and I was almost going to make the mistake again with sell all my cucumbers at the farmer's market, and those that I didn't just eat, but then I got thinking these were intentionally set in here to take and make our pickles so we can get our supply back up. The okra, this late crop of okra, has really been doing well. It is a whole lot easier to pick since we trimmed all these lower leaves off, but they've been steadily producing. She likes to come out here and pick daily. That way she can pick them small. Most people like them small. Me, I can take them small or a little larger. It's either way is fine with me. One thing I like to do when I come out is pull any spent blooms, because I find that it's less problem with the okra. There's less, a lot of times the spent bloom will actually cause it to misform the okra, and I don't like that. But anyway, it's doing good. It's loaded up. I'm getting plenty of okra. Even in the cool weather, they don't grow quite as fast, but we have been getting a pretty good bit. And that's kind of where we're sitting right now. We're almost ready to start taking out some of these melons over here, the honeydews and the cantaloupes, or the Israel melons here. We're trying to let some of these ripen up. I've been trying to watch these over here for changes, because if I let them get too yellow, they'll be just almost past the point of, they'll be really soft, but they're really sweet. And the same thing with these Israel melons. I try to get them when they start yellowing some like this. That's a good time to get rid of them. Now we have been getting just a few squash, enough to keep us in squash, but won't be long. These will go out. All these beds here will end up being onions and garlic. They seem to like it over here, so we're going to take care of them that way. There are just a few Hell's Best cantaloupes off in here. They're not quite ready. I'd say they ain't ready. Now this one is kind of splitting. It's probably, even though it's not ready, it needs to come out of there. It's not going to be as sweet, but if I leave these in here, and this one's the same way, they're not even going to be good for the chicken. So we'll take these out while we harvest, and see if there's anything worth salvaging out of these. But that's kind of one of the things. But these cantaloupes here, as you can see, these vines are dying. These were the last two cantaloupes on these Hell's Best. I don't think I've seen any more in there, so that's going to mean we're going to go ahead and take these out, and we'll start putting our garlic and onions in here. We might take and not plant this row. I'm not sure. We get quite a bit of shade from these Connexes, or these shipping containers, for a little bit of the day, and in the winter, when you want as much light as you can, it creates a problem. So it looks like there's one more cantaloupe, well, a couple in there, so we might leave that row in there a little bit longer, but we're kind of planning to go ahead and get these planted, get that done. And that's about where we're sitting. Look, things are really looking good in the garden for how cold the weather is. And I say cold. We're up north, you probably say, well, something's wrong with him saying this cold weather. But for us down here, it is getting a little cooler. I like the brisk mornings when it's down around 50 or mid 40s, but my plants don't. But the intent is this weekend is go ahead and drop these ends on the greenhouse. That way we drop them, tie them up, and then on these cool nights we'll go ahead and drop the sides. And it's going to get time that we need to start moving our citrus inside so it can take and benefit. And we've got a little room in there, but we don't have a whole lot of room, so it's going to be a little bit of a mess until we get those watermelons out of the way. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this little update. I thank you for watching. And if you're not a subscriber, of course, you know what to do. And as always, enjoy that gardening experience.